respected Bhaijis and Mahatmajis, and all the people who have come from all parts of the world to celebrate this auspicious occasion of Guru Maharaj's 60th birthday. Como estas? Como talevu? Julum hua? Saru che? Ramro cho? पूरी दुनिया से लोग यहाँ एकत्रित हुए हैं. And for the past few days, everyone who's been here has been experiencing certain things which they've never experienced before. And to experience certain things that we've never experienced before requires a great amount of courage and strength. Because when we live in this world, whether we choose to accept it or not, the way we lived our lives gets conditioned by this world. We get conditioned by our surroundings. We get conditioned by the people we interact with. And we get conditioned by the different experiences we have already received in this world. And all this conditioning creates a mindset that I should not say is limited in a way, but a mindset that is constricted. And within that constriction, we have a comfort zone. We want to experience the world in the same way we've already experienced it before. It's a process of repetition. And we are used to those repetition. But suddenly we come to such a program, such a beautiful place. We come to Prem Nagar Ashram, which for many people, it is not a place, but it's a home. It's where their spiritual journey began. And for many people, it's a place that wherever they know that there are struggles in this world, there are challenges in this world, but deep down inside their hearts, they know that there is this one place where everything fades away. And that place for them is Prem Nagar Ashram. So when you come to certain experiences which shake that comfort zone, which opens the restrictions of the mind, it is a very unnerving feeling. Many people are experiencing different cultures because they belong to a different belief system. And because they come from a different set of belief system, many questions will be coming to their minds. Why is this happening? How come this is happening? And it is very natural. Even when we travel abroad and we experience a new culture or a new place, there are a lot of questions. It's the general curiosity of the mind to understand our surroundings. But beyond these questions, beyond the differences that we see and perceive, there is an underlying current that is prevalent no matter where we go. I've never come here before. I've never met so many people before in my life. But isn't it strange that every person I meet, it feels like I've already met them before? That they are part of a family that I knew existed but I never met. Wherever I go, I'm greeted with smiles. I'm greeted with utmost respect. I'm greeted with this immense feeling of love that is very rare to experience in the world that we live in. And this underlying current has to be understood. Because differences in any way only remain in our mindset. If someone showers unconditional love, there is no definition of an individual set in this world that if he is educated, then only he is capable to love. Or if he lives in a certain social distinction, then only he is capable of loving. So the differences will always exist in perception, and it is there where we have to understand what true love or this underlying current that we are experiencing is. There's a very small story that there was a Hindu priest and there was a Muslim imam, and they were neighbors. Every morning they left for their respective places of worship, but when their paths crossed, they always had ill feeling towards each other. They would look away, not talk properly, won't greet each other. So this distance between them only grew over time. One day the Hindu priest requested the imam to stop, and he asked a very simple question. He said, we are both men of religion, men of our faith, men of our beliefs, and both of us have a duty towards our fellow human beings to guide them to the path of faith, to the path of love, to the path of devotion. So fundamentally what you and me are doing is not different. Fundamentally we both are striving to make people experience the omnipresence, of the divine spirit that is everywhere. So why is it that you and me always have this difference between us? It's a very good question. When both people are walking the same path, why do they have difference of opinion? So the Imam also ponders over this thought, and he replies, which is the truth put in very simple terms. He replies and he says that you are absolutely right. We are both men of God, men of belief, men of faith. But the difference that we fight over is not the difference in the truth that we preach. The difference that we are fighting over is you choose to see the truth differently, and I choose to see that truth differently. So the fight is between our perspective and our choices, not in the truth. And this message has to be deeply understood. We all live in a state of struggle. Why does the struggle exist? The world is a peaceful place, created with so much of love and harmony, that we experience that every day. But then we see man in this world, and ever since the advent of man, ever since ancient times, what has human history recorded? Except wars, conquests, battles, struggles, conflicts. In gist, no matter what have we accomplished as a human civilization, but the negativity through which we have achieved certain things is also a part of us today. We talk about global consciousness, but at the same time there is global terrorism. We talk about the oneness of God, but at the same time there is religious disharmony in this world. We talk about how everyone should be noble, but while talking about how we are noble, we are the ones who are cheating ourselves, being dishonest to ourselves. So why does this conflict exist? Many people, before understanding the problem, have tried to give a solution. And the solution is not wrong. Many people say that the mind is the cause of all discomfort known to mankind, which is absolutely true. But the whole question is, why is mind the cause? Till the problem is not understood, it is not very easy to grasp the solution. Because the solution has been presented to us by different masters, by different sages, by different great souls, through different time eras. Countries at one point did not exist, but wise men existed. Their efforts in humanity existed. Their teachings and their philosophies have existed. Countries have changed, empires have risen and fallen, civilizations have changed. But wisdom has remained. Wisdom has been passed on, wisdom has been documented. So that man, through that learning, through realizing its past mistake, can take a better path for the humanity, for the future. But still, there is strife, there is conflict. Because the solutions has been given. People say, reach a state of no mind, where the mind does not exist. But the whole point is, first I have to understand what state is my mind currently. And if I do not understand what state my mind currently resonates in, it's very difficult to achieve a state of no mind. Because how do I make that change? Change can only be made when you realize where you stand, where you are, and where you want to be. Two fundamental points have to be very clear. Now I know where I want to be, but I do not know where I stand. How can I make that change? So, sages from time immemorial have tried to make us understand that mind itself fundamentally is not the problem. People say that many minds exist. Is it true? It might be true in America, many minds exist. But over here, there is one mind. There are many impressions of the mind. In one impression, I'm happy. And in one impression, I'm crying. The mind is constant. The mind is not wavering. But how the mind chooses to impress itself onto the world, to express itself onto the world, that is in a constant state of turmoil. Why? Because the mind, like us, like the soul, is also seeking something. The mind also wants everlasting peace and happiness. That is what we are striving for. Ever since man has been given this plane of existence, hasn't man always tried to search for everlasting peace, for satisfaction, for happiness? Now the thing is, why are there so many impressions in my mind? Because the mind has created an individuality separate to its true nature. Now within all our minds, there are two basic impressions which are predominant. One is my true nature of my mind. You know, when science is taught, when you study chemistry, and when you're doing certain experiments, and when those practical experiments have to be theorized, what do you write? You write all the formulas. You know, this acid has to be mixed, heated, you know, at certain temperatures the chemical breakdown will happen. All those things are given. But in the end you write, provided all the conditions remain the same. Why is it that said? Because if you are performing that same experiment in a very cold room, maybe that experiment will not work out in the same way. Because the coldness of the room will affect the raw materials that you are working with. Perform the same experiment with the same raw material in a very heated environment. Your results will be different.